Hey everybody, Josh Ronquist here for the Heavy Debriefings YouTube channel to talk about another edition of Out Today and What I Missed. This week we have 30 brand new albums for April 11th, 2025. We have 7 brand new albums out today and 23 that I missed along the way. It's a heavy load this week, and laugh because I said load, so let's get into it. First up, we have Exiled Hope with Apocrypha. The third album from the grand and electric band from Sofia Fraz is quite the trip. It explores so much of what can be done in the dark, brooding underworld of metal, all while adding so many familiar elements to it all. You'll hear elements of bands like Nightwish, Camelot, but you'll also hear some more doomy territories, you'll hear some black metal elements that are sure to shock you, and its overall feeling of majestic and hellish landscapes that feels like when you mix Brimir and Emperor together. All while this might sound like a mishmash of genres, I assure you it works so very well in execution. The music sinks its teeth into you, and the more that you listen to it, it just gets better and better over time. This is incredible work, and if you have an appreciation for a large scale of metal genres, especially those on the dark side, you are bound to love what is happening here with Exiled Hope. Now we have In the Woods with Utra. While the band has made some changes over the years, and I do mean a lot of changes, the 7th album from this long-running band continues to see the band shine through the darkness. The second album, featuring Bernd Fürstad on vocals, just makes the band plunge into the deepest and darkest senses of emotion, with some heart-wrenching vocals on display, with both clean and black metal screams. The music accompanying it all is a tear-jerking display in all the best ways. It just adds this overall emotion. It's a grand mix of progressive, gothic, and black metal that feels overwhelming, but it works so effectively that you'll be playing this over and over again for years to come. The band continues to find a way to improve while never losing sight of what the band is all about, which is no easy feat to accomplish. This is going to be one of my favorite albums of the year for a good reason, and if you love your sorrow-filled metal, filled with dark emotion, you need to check out In the Woods. Now we have Meso with The Spin. The 4th album from this Italian band is easily at their best to date, combining a dark sense of doom metal, occult rock, but starting to incorporate some 80s goth tinges to make the music stand out amongst the rest, and it's an incredible thing to experience. It feels like you have been transported back to 1985 and someone mixed Candlemass and the Sisters of Mercy together while bringing Windham back to the past with them to create the sound that just keeps getting better and better the more you listen to it. It's dark, brooding, filled with this raw but appropriate production style that just hits right in every single note. This is incredible work, and if you want a mix of that doom, gothic, and occult rock sound all rolled into one, you should give this one a proper listen. You'll be so glad that you did. Next up, we have Rock Out with Let's Call It Rock and Roll. The 3rd album from this Swiss band just fits the right spot for this style in 2025. In what feels like a grand mix of Faster Pussycat, Cinderella, and just the right amounts of Blue Murder and, let's face it, an overall good sense of cheese, gives this band a classic feel but updated just enough for the 2020s. The songs are just that kind of catchy where you know where it's gonna go, but you also want it to go in that direction because it just makes the most sense. It's bluesy, catchy, rockin', and just feels good to the soul. It's nostalgic but modern at the same time, which can not always work, but I think it does here. I love when bands are able to pull something like this off and still sounds authentic. This is what the band wanted to pull off, and it simply works. This is meant for anyone who misses the good old days of that 80s hard rock style, and again, a good sense of cheese, but they want it for a 2020 sound. Next, we have Samtar with The Bug of Cosmic Delusions. The 7th album in 5 years from this prolific project is quite the trip that I was not even close for ready for, but I'm so glad that I took the journey. This is my first foray into the band, and it shows me this blend of progressive rock, avant-garde metal, and explores so many different genres that all comes as a shock when you first hear it, but makes sense when you let the album play out. I hear moments, sometimes even in the same song, from bands like Mr. Bungle, Opeth, Camel, System of a Down, and other bands. It's quite the mind screw for sure, but it's so intriguing and it instantly captured my attention and is yet to let go. When someone can explore what is possible in such a way like this and still finds a way to make it palatable for audiences, you instantly have me as a fan. I have to go back and check out what Samtar has done with the previous albums, but if it's anything like what's being performed here, I think I might become obsessed. This is how you innovate and make music truly your own. Bravo. Now we have Valor with Beyond the Stars, 2 albums into this Australian band's career, and they feel like they're just on the cusp of taking over the folk metal world, combining just the right elements of folk instrumentation, epic soundscapes from the keyboards, and mixing vocal delivery in just the right ways makes this band something you simply can't get enough of. Feeling like a wonderful mix of Helvetii, Early Day Equilibrium, and Wolf Chant brings this band to the forefront of the genre and simply doesn't let go. The production is so on point, and the songwriting is exactly what is called for without going overboard on anything. It's the kind of album that you can keep going back to and discover more and more layers as time goes on. What an incredible display of music for the genre that is in desperate need of a shot in an arm. This band deserves to be huge. Listen to them and make it so. And finally, for brand new stuff out today is Versatile with Les Litanies du Vide. The debut album from this Swiss band feels like an unholy mix of black metal and industrial, and I am all here for it. Combining the best of what works in both genres and making the music extra eerie and spine-tingling is just what the music calls for. It's grandiose, mystical, and at times very unnerving, but that's exactly what it needs to be. The production fits like a glove for the style, and the music sways from hard-hitting to a bit more whimsical, but never losing sight of that pure evil it is unleashing onto the world. This mix of styles works magnificently, and considering this is just the band's debut album, it has me so curious to see where they'll go from here. Absolutely killer work. And now it's time for all the stuff that I've missed along the way, starting with the sophomore album from this French band known as Aris with The Calling. This is a band that combines hardcore, metalcore, and black metal in a way that is just very satisfying to the ears. Never venturing too far into one direction, the band has combined these genres in a way that just feels so catchy, but it also feels so dark. The production has that early 2000s black metal production in which I really dig, and it feels like everything was written with this hardcore sensibility, making sure that nothing goes on too long, and it goes on just long enough to be effective. This won't be for everyone, but if you want to hear this niche sound, I couldn't recommend this one enough. It scratches an itch that I didn't know I had, and all I want is more. Now we have Autumn's Dawn with We Lost Our Hope Along the Way. Agalock meets Woods of Desolation meets Catatonia. It feels like this band was made just for me. The third album from this Australian duo hits so hard on what I love about the dark edges of post-rock and mixes it with this post-black and depressive black metal genres that just soothe the soul. Despite the subject matter being quite dark and sadly relatable, while not intentional, this album couldn't feel more appropriate in the world that we live in 2025, especially the last few months, am I right? This is an emotional wreck of an album, and I wouldn't want it any other way. The production feels like they took equipment and the EQ from Eglock's The Mantle and just perfected it for their own sound. 8 songs and 43 minutes long, this does exactly what it needs to do. It'll make you cry, it'll make you contemplate the hardships of life, and leave you broken. I can't get enough of this, and if you like your depressing music very, very depressing, check out Autumn's Dawn. Now we have Blossom and Wither with Nevermore. It takes a lot for an album to make you feel so much emotion in the metal genre without ever saying a word, and that's exactly what Blossom and Wither are all about. The debut album from this Netherlands band is some of the most gripping and hard-hitting, emotionally wrecking music that I've heard so far this year. The music just takes you through some of the darkest senses, whether it comes closer to the post-rock side of things, gets in the near black metal territory, or just messes you up with their unique blend of genre bending that is meant to punch your soul. The production is perfect for the style, and the songwriting I just can't say enough good things about. This is such a heart-wrenching experience of an album, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I hope this band explodes into the stratosphere as they deserve it. This is what needs to be done on the darker edge of post-metal. Give this one a proper shot, and I think you'll agree, even if you're not an instrumental fan. Next up is Captain Blackbeard with Chasing Danger. Based on a recommendation that I got from a YouTube comment, thank you very much for doing so, I discovered the Swedish band's 7th album, and I couldn't be more thankful. That perfect blend of AOR and melodic rock and metal that just soothes the soul. The solos are simply perfect, the vocals are those blends of highs and lows that I couldn't get more of, and they feel so appropriate. The music just hits that rock, metal, synth, and AOR sensibility, all while doing it so many times, and it never gets old. It's just that feel-good music in a time where it feels so hard to feel good, so you have to take advantage of anything that'll make you smile. That's what this band pulls off with perfection, and I can't get enough of it. If you love AOR, I think you'll have to agree when you listen to Captain Blackbeard. Up now we have Celestial Ember with All Real Numbers. The debut album from this American band is proving that modern progressive metal doesn't just need to be about the gents and the chug-chugs. Don't get me wrong, they do happen, and they actually do happen a lot, but it's not the focal point. This band is all about pushing the boundaries of what the heavier ends of the style of prog really can be, and it just feels right. It can be soothing right before it crushes you sonically. It can be poppy and catchy and then blindside you with some of the heaviest riffs of the genre, and then it'll incorporate some saxophone and get very jazzy and intricate in ways that you simply don't see coming. It may sound like a hodgepodge of sound, but when you listen to it, it all makes sense. The vocals, while predominantly clean, even sounds clean with the screams and growls with how it's enunciated, making this much more accessible to outside listeners. This pushes the boundaries of what bands like Periphery, After the Burial, and Tesseract have done in the past, but it shows the future of what prog in this style can be. It just gets better with every listen, and if you dig the genre of the heavier ends of that progressive metal core sound, I think you just might have to agree. Now we have Defender with Dying to Live. The debut album from this German band is just that perfect blend of the past and present that feels like the genre of revival metal is doing so very well, but it never loses sight of what they're trying to achieve. The songs never go on too long. I mean, it's 11 songs in a little over 42 minutes, which just feels appropriate. The songs are familiar, but they're supposed to be. That said, it also sounds very fresh and authentic. The production just has that pure 1985 sound that you just can't fake. This is feel-good metal that you simply can't get enough of, especially for the style, and it only gets better the more that you listen to it. Considering this is just a debut album, I can sense this band only continue to refine and improve their sound going forward. This is exactly what I love in the genre of revival metal, and if you dig that style of classic metal, you won't be disappointed in Defender. Next, we have Embroinial with Inherited Tendencies for Self-Destruction. 4 albums into this Polish death metal band's catalog shows the band at their most refined and devastating to date. This feels like the perfect blend of Immolation, Morbid Angel, and Vader, and it just destroys everything in its path. It leaves you battered and broken, and it just feels so good to listen to. Once you know it, that's exactly what the band was hoping to do. At 11 songs and almost 37 minutes long, it gives you a song or two to catch your breath, like the opening and a little instrumental part, and the rest pummels you into oblivion. It's not the cheery album that you would expect it to be either. In fact, it's an album about how we've ruined the world, and the world needs to be put to rest. And considering what's happening right now, there's a good argument for that to be true. This is some of the most monstrous death metal that unabashedly crushes you. If you love that style of nearly brutal death metal, Embroinial may do it better than anyone else in 2025. Up now, we have Flesh Spoil with what sadly might be the only band's album, The Beginning of the End. This is just this perfect blend of blackened death metal, progressive death metal, and so much more that just feels evil enough while never losing that brutal side, and just that occasional proggy side as well. The guitars have that early day black metal tones mixed in with just the right amount of black metal growls, some occasional clean vocals, and some absolutely punishing drumming. Sadly, Jeff Andrews of Flesh Spoil passed away just a week before the album's release, and it's a heartbreaking thing to see. The band's production fits like a glove, and the songwriting sounds like if you mix Morbid Angel, incorporated some more black metal tendencies, and again, some prog. I don't know what will happen to the band going forward. I'm assuming they're not going to continue on without Jeff, but thankfully they were able to give us at least one album, and it's of absolute quality. If this sounds like it's right for you, hearing some blackened death metal and some progressive death metal thrown together, trust me, it will be. Give this one a shot if you dig this style. Now we have Heathen Heretic with Whispers from the Abyss. I have to thank the Harsh Vocals podcast for bringing this to my attention. They played this on their show, and I can't get enough of it. It's a sophomore album from the Swiss melodeath band, and I am astounded by what I'm hearing. It's a blend of some of the heaviest ends of melodeath, while bordering on some pure death metal at times, and some very, very clean vocals. And that vocal performance by Viola Bona is insane, from her blood-curdling screams and growls to those haunting cleans. Match that up with a soundtrack backing it all that feels like it's coming from the deepest, darkest pits of hell, all while soaring in just the right spots. This is some killer stuff, and if you like your melodeath on the darkest, heaviest edges, you need to check out Heathen Heretic. Now we have Hermith with Aether. Nick from Ghost Heart Nebula and 3 Reese from Funeral Void have created a band that is so dark, dreary, and soul-draining, but it's absolutely gorgeous in sound. The sophomore album from this duo borders on funeral doom with how slow and dirgy it feels, but it is out-of-this-world experience that focuses on the ideals of outer space and the void that comes with it all. This is the kind of album that you can put on and you can contemplate what life is even about. It's so gripping and sad. The production is that kind of raw feeling where it feels like it's out in outer space, it feels like it's galaxies away, but it makes you want to experience it. This is not the kind of album that you put on if you're happy. It will bring you down. But if you're doing rough, you just may need to put an album like this on to get through this thing that we call life. I've come very close to crying every time I've put this one on, and I'm thankful for that experience, because it's nice that I can relate to something like that. This is one of the most introspective albums that I've heard all year, and it'll only take one listen for you to understand why that might be the same for you as well. Now we have Industrial Puke with Alive to No Avail. I'm gonna keep this one short and sweet, just like the album. Crust punk meets hardcore meets that HM2 pedal 90s death metal. It's the perfect combination. This is a sophomore album from the Swedish band that just rolls those three genres into one. It gets heavy when it needs to. It's just that perfect crust punk D beats going along with it all, and just those occasional hardcore riffs that you can just feel everything around you getting destroyed. 12 songs, almost 29 minutes long. It's just the perfect length, and it just feels like you're being pummeled into dust, and you just want more. If you want a mix of death metal, crust punk, and hardcore in perfect disharmony, you can't do better than Industrial Puke. Now we have Insane with Rogue Waves. The debut album from this Israeli band lists themselves as angry, melodic, and chaotic. And once you know it, that couldn't be more appropriate in 2025. And in 2025, you have every right to be angry right now. I mean, this feels like a mix of Gojira, Mutiny Within, and Protest the Hero. And if you like those bands, I think you're gonna love what's going on here. The production is pristine, the songwriting hits that perfect level of going proggy but never wanky, and the songs are just so enjoyable from beginning to end. This couldn't feel more appropriate of an album for model times if they tried. If you want an album that feels like a proggy version of that feeling that you should be feeling now, check out Insane. Now we have Lady Beast with The Inner Alchemist. 5 years since their previous album and their 5th album overall, this Pennsylvania powerhouse of a band is back, and we needed them back. Lady Beast hits that style of classic heavy metal, revival metal, and the occasional power metal elements, especially that classic power metal sound, that is just so satisfying to the ears. The production is just that right kind of 80s sound, all while hitting some more modern songwriting. If you dig the likes of Huntress, Savage Master, and especially that early day Iron Maiden sound, Lady Beast is doing exactly what you need, and you'll be so glad that you heard them. Absolutely excellent stuff. Up now we have Living Tales with Hades. The 4th album from this Portuguese band is doing some of the best material of their date. They hit that style of symphonic progressive metal with just the right amount of hints of power metal, folk metal, and that pure heavy metal sound that just feels so appropriate. The songs are endlessly catchy, and they take you on this journey of the senses. You can hear how the band has refined and improved so much over the years, and again, this is some of their best material to date. They feel like such an appropriate band to play Prog Power USA or Prog Power Europe one day. Well, over here in the States if the visa issue ever gets settled, but hey, that's a different story. If you need this style right now, you need to pick this one up and enjoy it. Next, we have Marble Orchard with Ruminations of Ruin. The sophomore album from this Texas band is raw, haunting, and exactly what this gothic doom genre needs right now. Typo Negative meets early day Candlemass and just the right amounts of My Dying Bride. My dark, sad boy doom sensibilities are fulfilled here with Marble Orchard. The production is a bit on the raw side, but it also feels very appropriate. It kind of gives like this late 80s, early 90s sound. It feels like a throwback, but it is modernized just enough in its songwriting to make it stand out. It's been a while since I've heard a band pulling off this style of gothic doom, and it just makes me so happy to hear. If you like your doom in this vein, I can't imagine you'd be disappointed by this one. It's just what the world needs now. Here we have March of Skyla with Andromeda. Made on the darkest fringes of post-metal, the sophomore album from this French band is exactly that darker post-metal that bands in the genre should be striving for in today's age. It's heavy, hard-hitting, and filled to the brim with emotion. It hits you on so many levels that are just what you want to hear in this style. The production style couldn't feel more appropriate, and the songwriting hits that landscapes with such ease, and it just begs for repeat listens. Everything from what makes post-metal such such a great genre, to incorporating moments of near black and death metal territories, and some unbelievably catchy moments as well that you just don't see coming, but it makes so much sense as you listen to it. If this sounds intriguing to you in the slightest, I highly recommend checking this one out. I think I'll be glad that you did. Now we have some Minnesota music here with Pestifear with There Was Never Light. 3 albums into this Minneapolis band's career, and they are on this upward trajectory that is just unrivaled, featuring past and present members of Sunless, Australis, and the Bill Pulmonary Embolism. What a great name. The band continues to pave the way for how black metal and melodeath should feel authentic, and they're doing exactly what they want to create. The production is on the raw side, but it is warranted here. The songwriting fits what it needs to be with 6 songs and 36 minutes long. It has enough atmosphere to create this unique sound that feels both like an existential look at the world and being surrounded by the forest, which, that's pretty much what the standard living situation is in Minnesota. But seriously, this is a top contender for albums that blend these genres together, and it shows others how it should be done. If you want some of the best of this blackened melodeath sound, check out Pestifear. Now we have 7 with Interdimensional Act 3, Shadows in the Sky. The third album from this Vegas one-person project is hitting a vein that needs to be tapped. In what feels like a mix of Sleep Token, Meshuggah, Periphery, and A Perfect Circle, 7 is hitting that modern metal style with just enough prog and other elements to have this universal appeal that is hard to accomplish, but they nail it. If you dig Sleep Token and you want to get into heavier music, this is the kind of band that you need to check out. The production is stellar. The songwriting is so on point, it's not even funny, and again, it just has this universal appeal that I can't imagine anyone who likes prog, commercial rock, or somewhere in between would be disappointed in this. From the guitar stylings, the insane vocals, and the pure atmosphere of it all, this has something for everyone, all while being themselves. Give this one a proper shot, you just might be glad that you did. Now we have Varia with The Changing of Tides. This is the sophomore album from this Virginia band, and I'm actually quite impressed. Building a base of metalcore and hard rock that feels like natural extensions of what was built in the early 2000s, but updating it for 25 years later is quite the achievement. When they hit the breakdowns, they get heavy, but when they hit their choruses, it's some of the catchiest and most earworm-inducing moments I've heard in this style all year. The album also goes into the occasional twists and turns into some genre bending that fits like a glove. This may be a band that feels like it's catered more to the radio-friendly crowd, but there is just enough heavy moments to satisfy those that are looking for more. If you want to hear what radio should be playing, check out Varia. Next, we have Vinegar Hill with Darkness Echoes. The 5th album from this Austrian melodeath band feels so appropriate right now. A band that perfectly blends some of the heaviest and catchiest moments of melodeath into one package. It hits some of the most poppy and catchy moments of that middle era In Flames as well, while incorporating bands like At the Gates to balance it all out. It feels like the best of both worlds if you want the thrashy, melodeath, and kind of poppy sides. The production has this distinct 90s melodeath flair to it, and the songwriting just feels so inspired. It just feels like that direction that we all wish In Flames would have taken after Come Clarity. If that sounds like it's for you, I assure you this will be. Check this one out. Now we have Vintros with Time Scarred. The debut album from this UK band featuring members of Ageless Summoning, Black Talon, and Ashen Horde is an incredible ride, hitting moments of different subgenres of black metal without ever losing their black metal charm. I can hear moments of Hardcured for the Sky, Agalok, and Agrippni throughout all of this in the best of ways. The production is a little raw, but not too much. It just feels right. The songwriting is explosive and emotionally gripping. It's a dark and depressing album that just couldn't feel more appropriate for modern times. It's also the kind of album that you just need to put on for yourself and just let it take over you. It will hit hard, but it will be so worth it. If you dig the style, especially of that post-black and black metal side, you need some Vintros in your life. Now we have Vaya with Instar. Another debut album here with Vaya, a prog metal band that instantly caught my attention. While the music does have many similarities to bands like Haken, Monuments, Polyphia, and others, the vocals are what makes it stand out amongst the crowd. The vocals provided by Sky Hall soar above the music and are done without the need of any kind of screams or growls to the sound. I mean, they sometimes get heavier, but that's not a focal point. Providing just this gorgeous base of everything to get as poppy, catchy, proggy, and and everything they need to add to their sound. The production is pristine for the style, the songwriting grows on you more and more with each listen. This feels like such a natural progression of what modern progressive metalcore can and should be, and it shows that you don't need to be about being the heaviest or the most brutal band with down-tuned guitars and breakdowns. It just needs to feel authentic, and this is actually what they want to make. Listen to this one if you enjoy any style of prog, and I think you might be able to find something you appreciate. And finally, for albums that I missed, we have Warmian with Immemorial Shrine. The debut album from Anton of Inherits the Void is exactly what I was looking for. It perfectly balances melodeath and melodic death doom into the style that just strikes such a chord, and it makes me feel so many emotions as I listen. I can hear as many bands like Early Day Catatonia in this as I do bands like October Tide or even Edge of Sanity. I can even hear some Horacle or the Jester Race era In Flames on the occasional riff. It's an emotionally draining album, as melodic death doom tends to do, and that's exactly the point and why I love it so much. It's sad, gripping, and it may make you shed the occasional tear if you're not careful. This also feels like the perfect counterbalance to his other band Inherits the Void, which is much more focused on the faster, mellow death, black metal kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong, some speedy moments do occasionally happen here, but it's the exception, not the rule. It's a beautifully dark album that only gets better the more you listen to it, and if that's for you, this will be an album that you'll keep going back to for years and years to come. Absolutely incredible work. And there you go, folks, another 30 albums down and 330 albums I've covered so far in 2025. So what do you think? Did I pick out some good albums this week, some bad albums? Did I leave anything out? Anything I need to check out? Anything you're going to check out? Anything that you're going to avoid like the plague? Please let me know in the comments down below. And of course, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. The numbers have been soaring higher and higher, and I couldn't be more thankful. So thank you so very, very much. Make sure to come back next week as we cover April 18th for Out Today and What I Missed. And until next week, for the Heavy Debriefings YouTube channel, this is Josh Runquist saying, embrace the skullet.